Hello, 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 and welcome back to Kim Talks Resilience. I am Kim Hayden, your host. If this is the first time stopping by, thank you. Super excited to have you here. Kim Talks Resilience is all about the resilience it takes to be successful in life, love, and business. Where we talk to women from around the world who are making great strides in their business, who can share with us their success, those success tidbits, those actionable steps that we can all move forward together. We are women that are creating success for women around the world who want to create success. So today, I'm super excited. We have a newly minted author with us. I love my authors because less than 5% of all North American adults are published authors. And even with the barriers that have come down around getting published, it still takes huge amounts of work, time, energy. And sometimes there's maybe a little question as to, is this the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Did I say the right thing? Should I put more in? Do I need less there? But you know what? I love it when I see these new authors come to fruition and share their best thinking, their zone of genius. So Melissa Leon is a 20-year finance professional and co-owner of 2 Cents Consulting. She's also the new author of, get this, and I don't normally, this is a fun one, The Efficiency Bitch. So we're going to talk about that later today. Melissa is a mother of 3, wife, author, and a podcast host of The Efficiency Bitch. Melissa believes that since money touches everything, learning how to evaluate how you earn and spend money is the key to successful business and a happy life. So let's welcome Melissa to the stage here. Super excited. All right. And this is quite the timing because it's Christmas time. This is where a lot of stress is around money. So Melissa, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
And we're getting Melissa where she is. We're lucky to have her because she is just slammed busy, right? Working with all of your small businesses, and then launched your book in November. And now you have 3 kids for Christmas. So yeah. So talk to
my
us
7-year-old said to me, the other day, this must be every adult's favorite holiday because Santa does everything. I was like, yeah, buddy. You're right. This is my favorite holiday.
That's like the people that sit down at your Christmas table and they say, oh, the turkey's a little dry. It's like, I just spent 8 hours in the kitchen. Go bugger off. Go get a pizza. So I get it. I get it. All my kids are grown, so they all show up and everybody helps me cook. So I do like the whole grown kid thing because it's a lot less work. It's interesting. It's definitely a different scenario. I would love for you to take us down the path of who Melissa is so we can get a little bit of understanding behind what you do and why you do it.
Yeah, sure. Well, Melissa Leon, I am in Arizona. I was born and raised here. I did leave the state for about 6 years. I was fortunate enough to live in Hawaii and then in Miami, Florida, as well as Southern California. So I had 6 years away, and then I came back home. I am a mother of 3 children. They're 7, 9, and 11. I have been married to my husband for 13 or 14 years now. I originally went to school to be a hotel restaurant management professional. I have a bachelor's degree in hotel restaurant management. I thought I wanted to own or run a bar or a restaurant. Turns out that wasn't real. I thought I wanted to, but when I actually started doing it, it was a much different path. But I ended up spending 17 years in the hospitality industry and corporate finance. While I was doing that, I got an MBA as well as a project management professional certification, which was probably some of the best training I ever had, that PMP. And in my spare time, I golf with my husband. I camp with my family. We have a little travel trailer. We drive around Arizona and just recently got a puppy. That was weird idea because he's a lot of work, but all good stuff.
Oh, too funny. So you've never lived in a cold climate. I noticed that you literally
No.
hopped warm climate to warm climate. Well, I will invite you to
Yeah.
time to come up north because I'm literally just 21 hours straight north of you. Just go through
Yeah.
Vegas. And yeah,
I went to school in Flagstaff, Arizona, and it snows a little bit. Never had to shovel it.
doesn't
Never had
count,
a snow
Melissa. Doesn't
day.
count.
No, it's not worth it. I had the good fortune while I was in the hotel industry, I moved around a lot. That was the moving that we did. And my husband is a golf professional, a 20-year golf professional. So the rule with the company was, yeah, I'll move anywhere where he can golf year round. So I got
There you
lucky there,
go.
but
Yeah, no, you can't golf year round in Calgary unless you got like a parka and thermals and neon balls. So
right.
right, because we're
Yeah.
covered in snow. So let's talk a little bit, and full transparency, folks. I'm not the best with money. I'm going to be learning right along with you. I'm probably like so many people out there. Probably
Yeah.
70% of people out there don't really get it, and I know how to make money. I'm really good at that. It's the how to manage it, and and it's crazy because they say don't think with a negative thought, but the reality is it is later than you think. And I
Yeah.
always think I'm 30, and I don't know if you guys have guessed, I'm not. I know. Yeah, but so let's go into what you do, because you do work with small businesses, correct?
Yeah, I do. I co-own a business called 2 Cents Consulting, and it was born during the pandemic. The idea, I started doing like my grandmother's HOA's books, or helping with the review of them. Spending almost 20 years in corporate finance, I was raised in the world of P&Ls and corporate finance, and I really knew how to read a P&L, a profit and loss statement. I knew how to tell the story of the business, provide the executive summary. And that was all what I learned in my hotel career. And 2018 actually, I started doing the books for my grandmother's HOA, started having another friend that was asking me to help him in 2019. And then when the pandemic hit and the US government was offering payroll protection program loans and economic disaster relief loans, all of these small businesses needed help getting their books together as fast as possible so that they could apply for these relief programs. And I just had this opportunity to do so for free. I mean, my partner and I just decided we wanted to do this and help people. And so we did. And we helped several dozen small businesses during that time get their books together and organize it. And we didn't charge anybody anything. But what it did is it created a pipeline for us. And so now we've been in business almost 3 years, and with a very healthy and happy little company that we help only small businesses. So we will not touch it if you're large. We only want the solopreneurs or the small ones. We keep our prices as low as possible. But really, the name of the game for us is financial literacy. We don't just want to do your books for you. We want to review your books with you once a month, teach you what's on your balance sheet, teach you what's on your P&L, and really help you tell tell the story of what your business is doing, because it's not just about filing your taxes at the end of the year. It's about one day selling your business, or maybe you're in the business of funding your life and your retirement and not necessarily selling it. So those things are really the most important part for us in the business space.
So you wrote a book, and we're going to get to the book in a few
Mhm.
moments. Are you doing any type of, because you mentioned a really good word there, pipeline.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are so busy doing one-off business that
Mhm.
they don't look at future opportunities. Now, as a published author and as somebody who's created a pipeline and wanting to keep prices as economically feasible, are you also in the process of maybe looking at doing some courses or online opportunities where you can offer a one to few or a one to many versus a one on
Yeah.
one?
It's such a good question. I have been creating, well, yes, there's two pieces. I do already have an online course called Be Your Own CFO, and it's me talking and it's set modules. And then there's 2 1-hour sessions with me to go deep dive into that individual's business. And that we built about a year ago, and it's, we update it as necessary, but it's been really great. We've had a lot of good feedback on that. There's another area that I'm working on right now, which will be more of a group session. So the Be Your Own CFO course is 100% online. It's self-paced. You can take 10 hours or 10 years to do it. Where this one that we're working on right now will be a larger group, more of a webinar. But those can be a little challenging too, because you don't have the opportunity for the one-off questions, or you end up with a chat room that's filled with 400 questions that are so specific to the individual. But I do really enjoy both. I do a lot of public speaking, mostly to women's groups, with business women groups who are looking for information. I just finished 4 actually in the last month since my book launched, and those are really what fill my cup. I really enjoy it. I think that women don't have the generational knowledge most of the time on financial literacy. Women in the United States were given the opportunity to have their own credit card without a cosigner in 1978. I was born in 1981. So I'm 42 years old, and my generation is the very first who's ever been able to have their own credit card without a cosigner of a man. So there's really not that much generational knowledge. If you have a mother or a grandmother who knew a lot about money, consider yourself very lucky, because most didn't. I happen to be surrounded by 2 women who had a lot of information about money and taught me quite well.
And a lot of people, and then this also comes from, you'll see, so I have a single mom with 4 daughters. So we were literally paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. There was no strategy or anything. It was literally, how do we keep the lights on? How do we keep this all moving forward? And that creates, I would think that kind of mentality creates greater challenges for small business owners than even the lack of knowledge. Is almost that, almost the fear of money. Like, did you see that people have fear of money, or that, because I grew up with, I always had enough. I want to make this very clear. My mom, amazing, incredible woman. However, there was never enough money. Yeah. So I always had that deprivation kind of messaging around money. What do you, when you go to some of these small businesses, do you see that not only lack of knowledge, but that negative thinking around money can affect their bottom line? Can you talk a little on that?
Absolutely. I think money makes people feel so exposed anytime they talk about it. You feel naked in a room, you feel embarrassed, you feel shameful. It really triggers a lot of emotions for people. I talk a little bit about this in the book too. It's okay, and it's very normal. And it's very, very common that we were not comfortable talking about money. We were probably taught that it's not appropriate to talk about money. Yeah. And undoing that knowledge that you've been taught as a child, as an adult, can be very uncomfortable. So naturally, speaking to another person about money can feel very, very vulnerable. And I see that more than anything with all of my clients, men, women, and everybody has this discomfort with talking about money. Very rarely do I find somebody who's just like, here's it all, and I'm ready to go. Typically, they don't need me if they have that. The other thing that I find really, really, really frequently with people is they know how much money they make, but they have no idea how much money they spend. And most people can say, yeah, I make $10 an hour. I make $20 an hour. I make $50,000 a year. I make $100,000 a year. If you don't know how much money you spend, you will always be chasing that paycheck, because you will never be able to prepare for the future. And saving for the future is just as important for a small business as it is for an individual. Now, sometimes the goal of that business is solely to fund the future of the owner. It doesn't always have to be to make millions so that you can sell the business. Sometimes it's to fund your future or your current lifestyle. But if you don't know how much money you spend, you will never be in front of that. And it's part of why we're so busy this time of year. From October to January, our company is absolutely slammed with people who haven't caught up their books for the year and need to make decisions on expenses in December, or they are starting to think about tax season. We don't do taxes, but we get everything prepared for taxes. Or they're starting to think, oh, I got to get a forecast or a budget together so that I can start the next year right. Those are my favorite clients because even if they're not totally completely clean this year, they want to start the slate clean for next year. And this is always a really good time. Calendar year change. I'm not one for New Year's resolutions, but I am one for starting the financial books clean, get your tax years cleaned up and start fresh in January. That's my favorite thing.
I think that when we look at small businesses, I'd like to actually tap into kind of a sensitive subject if you're okay with it.
Sure.
So we already know that I think it's less than 3% until, I think last year we actually cracked 5%. Female founders and business owners get any type of traditional lending or financials, right? Which is ridiculous, folks. And when you start at a deficit and you are shoestringing a company and you are hobbling along, how do you get from that bootstrap stage to that solvent stage if you're not even generating enough money to do all the jobs that you're doing? Because a lot of women are doing 10 jobs within their company because there is no resource. And we've seen that compounded through COVID. The female small business is having a slower recovery statistically than male-led small business. Can you talk about some of the things that you've seen through doing other people's books, or maybe strategies that they implemented that helped them come past that hurdle?
Yeah, I see this in both my friends, the women who are just individuals as well as the small business owners and both who are both women. And I talk about this in the book too. Women carry this invisible load of responsibility everywhere that they go. And that is generational. The generational responsibility that women have to care for the home, care for the children, care for the food, all of those things. That is absolutely on our shoulders from our mothers and our grandmothers and our great grandmothers. That was our role in society at large. And then the generation before me, my mother's generation, started to go to work for the first time, and they continued on the load of everything else. And so this generation of women, I mean, I'm an early millennial. I was born the first year of the millennial group. They're really starting to let go of some of that load for the very first time, but I still see it very heavily in business owners. And one of the things that in order to become an efficiency bitch, that I really preach is you have to fall in love with your future self. And you have to say, what am I going to do today that is going to make tomorrow me or next week me or next year me set up for success? I can't just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expect something to change. It has to shift. And sometimes that means outsourcing it. So, and I don't just mean like hiring a bookkeeper. I mean, have somebody help you clean your home. Buy one of the HelloFresh Blue Apron, the boxes for meals. Give yourself the easy button so that you can get control of everything else that's happening. It will always be there to take back. If you feel this burden that you have to clean your home because that's the way that it's meant to be, or you feel guilty for indulging in housekeeping service, give yourself 3 months of support. You will be shocked with how much time you're given back, how much energy you're given back. And then if you really die into scrub toilets again later, do it then. People tell me all the time, doing things like having a housekeeper or somebody clean your home is for the rich. And I could not disagree more. It is for the busy. It is for the ambitious. It is for the people who really want to upskill and up-level their current lives. Plus, you're helping another business. Like that person,
Exactly.
that person is
Exactly.
choosing. People hate doing accounting. I love it. So you're not hurting my feelings by asking me to do your books. I want to. It's the same thing. Somebody's choosing to clean homes as their profession because they're good at it and they're efficient at it. Let them. It women have this burden that just doesn't need to be there.
Well, and I know in Canada, I'm not sure about the States. You'll be able to help clear this up. But in Canada, if you work from home, you can write off a percentage of
Yeah.
your house, your utilities, and your cleaning. So
Yes, you
it's actually a
absolutely
business
can.
investment.
It absolutely is. But it's the thing that women push back on me the most. Like all the time, women will come to me, friends, family, social media. What's your number one tip for getting more efficient? And it's have somebody help you with the stuff that has to get done. Because I don't know about you or anybody who's listening, but if my house is a mess, my brain can't function because I feel obligated to clean it. I got 3 small kids, my house is always messy. 3 small kids and a puppy. Like, we got mud in here, we got dirt in here, we got toys everywhere, there's crumbs on the floor. I've done 2 things. I've had somebody come in once a week to help me do the deep cleaning. We have a Roomba that vacuums up crumbs in the house once a day as a robot, and I've taught my kids that they have to participate in this. It's not, I mean, my kids and my husband, I don't mean to exclude him because he does a hell of a lot of work around here. He does all of the cooking and most of the laundry, and we absolutely do things together. That is not my responsibility, and it hasn't always been that way. And I tell that story too. About 5 years ago, I about had a nervous breakdown because I was doing all of it, not because he didn't want to, but or wasn't willing to, but because I wasn't letting him. I was just doing it all. I was being this martyr of I have to, I don't have to. And
No.
and he
Yeah.
stepped up in a huge way, and he's probably been more of a role model for people than I have with all of this.
And that's the big one. My husband does the laundry too, especially because I turn everything pink. I suck at laundry. You know, and the HelloFresh, just so everybody knows, it actually, those boxes, if you look at the amount that you do not waste, they actually
Yes,
are very efficient when it comes both time and money.
I
Um,
agree.
so my husband and I actually do those on a regular basis because I get to eat things I never would make. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, treat yourselves, ladies. Just like, I don't know what it is about going to the grocery store that we feel like we have to go and touch everything that comes into the house, right?
Yeah,
Order your
and the
groceries online, right? Order your
and I'll
groceries
tell you what,
online.
it's all a marketing tactic. Like, you love going to the grocery store loves that you do too. They're gonna get you on every end cap, every aisle. You're gonna buy all kinds of crap that you don't need. I stepped foot in a grocery store yesterday for the first time in probably 6 months because we do most things online, or my husband will go during the week, and I bought a lot of things that I did not go there for,
Yeah,
and I remembered, it's worth the $5 delivery fee because I could have saved $75 in extra purchases. So, but again, it's
absolutely.
knowing what you spend and it's knowing what you need to do. And I never say I'm wasting money on something, but you have to take responsibility for where your money is going, and you have to take responsibility for knowing where your money's going. And if you don't, you'll probably find yourself in a situation where you're chasing your tail constantly and not knowing why your business is not cash flowing, or not knowing why you can't make it to the next paycheck without having concerns on overdraft fees or racking up a balance on a credit card. Those things are very real, and there's no shame in it. It's just, let's fix it. Let's get to the point where your future self is going to be
Yeah.
happier.
And a word to all the small businesses and solopreneurs. People do business with you not because of what you do. They do business with you because of who you are and how you help them feel, how you
Hmm.
so the reality is your time better spent going for a coffee with a prospective client and letting somebody else scrub your toilet, or you go in and scrub your toilet. And this, I tell this to real estate agents. I work with new agents who are trying to figure out how to get in their space. We identify their 7 streams of revenue. So there are different sphere opportunities. We, how to approach those, how to bring those together. And I said, as soon as you can get that paperwork off the plate, get it off the plate. Your job is to be front and center. Your job is to be present. Your job is to be visible. Your job is to interface. It's not to do the paperwork. It's not to put a sign in the lawn, right?
Yeah.
So I think we mistake when we're looking at, in marketing terms, you'll understand this. In marketing terms, you got feature and benefit, right? And 80% of the messaging is around the benefit because this is what people respond to. Well, you as the individual who's offering this service or product, you are the benefit. The feature is what you do. Right? So you need to be in front of people. You need to make sure that you have the energy and the excitement and be in front of people. And every week you're networking for an opportunity to connect with the next client. And there's nothing wrong with making money, ladies. There's nothing wrong with making money. I don't know why we're all like, like I said earlier, I'm good at making money. And I make money and I spend money. I think I spend money faster than I make money. But I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But there's nothing wrong with making money because you can do things. I ask people all the time, if you made $1 million next year, who would you help? And it's amazing how many women always talk about somebody else. They never talk about how they would help their own life or themselves, right? But the reality is money allows us to make changes in this world. Change does not happen without money. I would love to talk about a moment of resiliency where you just sat there, and if you hadn't had that moment of resiliency, you would not be having this conversation.
Yeah, I think I started to talk about that a moment ago. 2018, I think, 19, 4 or 5 years ago, I was traveling the world for work. I was doing 200,000 airline miles a year. My kids were 2, 4, 6 to 4, 6, 8. I can't remember their exact ages, but I was doing all of it. I was working from home. And so I felt like I was the one that was solely responsible for making sure the meals were prepared and the kids got to school and to their activities and home from school and doing all the laundry and all of the things. And I wasn't doing my my current business at the time. This was when I was in my corporate role. And I was just absolutely underwater. I probably looked calm and collected and like I had all my stuff together, but I was absolutely miserable. And I sat down with my husband. Well, okay, it wasn't a sit down. Like there might have been some yelling involved from both of us, but I was so frustrated. I didn't know how to solve the problem. And what we ended up doing was writing down all the list, all of the invisible load, the things that I was thinking about on a regular basis that he I, it just wasn't in his frame of reference because I was taking care of it while he was at work. And we sat down and we went through everything. And I think that moment of resilience for both of us was really pivotal in what we've been able to build today. I remember at the time thinking, if I don't change something, we're not going to have anything to look forward to in the future. Maybe our lives will fall apart. We'll have no money. We'll have no marriage. I don't know. It was that bad. And what it created was this incredible life, not just with the ability to publish a book and build a business, but a business that is sustaining both of our incomes now. He works for the business that my partner and I created. And our kids are happier than they've ever been. We're both healthier than we've ever been now. And I think that moment of have to make a change and it has to be real and it has to be right now was probably the most resilient moment that I've ever had. I think I could have let it go, right? And just said, it's okay, it'll get better. But it sometimes you just have that feeling that you have to move forward and you have to make a big change. And that was it for me. And that was the beginning of creating a life that I adore and want everybody else to have as well.
Creating the life you love. And that's that's what's so important, is that women who are creating the life they love are speaking up and sharing these little tidbits of how do you write down that invisible load and identify what can be done? Even if
Mhm.
it's just asking your 9-year-old to take the recycling cans to the garage twice a week, right? It's
Yeah.
literally, everybody does their part and parcel. And and good on you knowing that you need to do that, because I'm pretty sure if you had not done that, you would not have that book sitting behind you. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and a lot of other things wouldn't have been
Yeah.
that, and a lot of the book talks about that journey, right? I mean, the book is so therapeutic and it gets it all out and you know exactly where you're going and the things that you've done to get there. And it's one of those things that I look at other women in the face and say, if you just could see how good your future life would be, you would be willing to take that first step in starting a conversation with your partner about the balance of load, or looking at your money and really understanding where things are. And it's not the same for everybody. Like, some people have kids, some people don't. Some people have 5, some people have 1. Some people have a partner, they don't. I mean, obviously, all of our lives are very, very different, and my life is gonna be different than anybody else's who reads it. I'm the only one of me, but if you can take those threads of knowledge and just hear what will make your future self happy, how to fall in love with your future self, it it really creates some momentum that I don't think anybody else could do for you other than yourself.
110%. Totally agree. I totally agree. I want to talk about your book. I love this. So walk
Thank
us
you.
through your book, introduce us, and tell us, what can readers expect from your book?
Yeah, so the title's Efficiency Bitch: How Ambitious Women Can Have It All Without Doing It All. I tell a few stories in the beginning. One about how the title Efficiency Bitch came to be. And it's a silly story between my mom and I when I was 18. I called her an efficiency bitch in the middle of a fight. And it was a term of endearment between my mom and my sister and I. It still is, for the last 20 plus years. And so it's a term that means a lot to me as an individual, and to my sister, and to my mom. I got everybody these EB water bottles for Christmas because EB is something we've been calling each other for a very long time. But I was asked to speak at an event a few years ago, and I didn't know what to title it. And my sister said, Efficiency Bitch. And that was the start of it. And so now I give speeches all the time titled Lessons from Efficiency Bitch. Um, and as I started writing the book, I realized that I needed a sprint. And the sprint turned into the podcast. I needed something I could do faster than write a book, because writing a book is a really long process. And so I started the podcast, and the podcast really helped me to unravel my true message and the true format of the book. So, what you see before you is 5 basic chapters, and I use the word bitch as an acronym to cover those 5 pillars of that path. And it's bank, so money, because of course, like, that's my favorite thing to talk about. Inbox, so the inflow and outflow of life, everything from email to actual mail to taking care of your house and your car and your children. Time, time management is so important, and I talk a lot of different ways to manage time through automating and eliminating and delegating things. Connection is the next chapter, and that really talks about the people that you surround yourself with and the ways that you spend your energy. I give an example in there. I thought I needed to be the Girl Scout troop leader and the PTO president, and it turned out I'm not that person. I'm not great with kids, my own questionable, but I was spending my time and my energy on something that was burning me out versus filling me up. And so today I sit on 2 not-for-profit boards. One is Planned Parenthood. I'm very, very passionate about women and their reproductive rights. So I sit on the board at Planned Parenthood, and that's where I spend my energy and my connection time there. And then H is for harmony. It was originally the health or happiness chapter, but that didn't really fit it all together. And my mother, the original efficiency bitch, actually came up with the H chapter, harmony. And it's the bow that ties it all together. It's recognizing that there is no work life balance, there is no perfect. It's ebb and flow, and you have to embrace the different seasons of your life because they change really fast. My life when I had 3 kids in 5-point harness car seats is very different than today, where they can all take showers alone and make their own breakfast and, you know, are potty trained. That's a very different life than 3 teenagers who are going to take a different type of emotional energy, or when you have fully grown children. So,
Oh,
that's
wait,
the
the
harmony of it all.
teenagers, what people I don't think realize, I think teenagers take more time than toddlers. I
That's what I
really do.
hear.
I really do. I mean, I am so blessed in my life. I have 3 amazing adults as children now, and they will always be my babies, but they're good human beings. And it's not easy getting good human beings, people who will shovel walks or mow a lawn for their neighbor because their neighbor is, struggling. And that's something else. I do want to put out a PSA here. If you know anybody who is struggling, you know what? Do something kind. Do something kind. It's that time of year. This is a hard time of year for a lot of people, especially people who don't have their books in order, people who their
Yeah.
businesses are not recovering. So, do be aware of what's going on around you. I love the fact. So basically, your book is more or less kind of a course in itself. It's that 6-step course to
Yeah.
five. I had to
Yeah.
spell. Sorry, folks, work with me here. I've got that many fingers. I figured it out. But yeah, I know. Can you tell?
Yeah.
Like I said, good at making money, not so good at spending it, right? But so I'd love to know all your socials. Where can people find you so that they can connect, follow you? Because we all know success leaves clues, and you don't have to, if you don't have, if you're sitting where the average entrepreneur in the United States right now is sitting around 56,000 a year. And after you take out your cost of running your business and paying your taxes, you don't have a lot of money left over. So getting getting books like Efficiency Bitch, finding women like Melissa online and subscribing to their Facebook group. You do not have to spend tens of thousands of dollars on coaching
Totally.
in order to make that 1, 2, or 3 degree shift that will allow you to put an extra 5,000 into your bottom line by the end of the next year. I firmly believe this because these women, amazing women like Melissa, are stepping up and making themselves available. So where can we find you, Melissa?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Efficiency B, because Meta won't let me put the word bitch out there, which I can't say I blame them. I was going to say this too. The word bitch is hard for a lot of women to hear. And I do address that in the book of why I use the word bitch, not only the story, but the original word of bitch started being used as a derogatory term towards women during women's suffrage in the United States. And it was because those women were being aggressive, trying to fight for their right to vote. And if that's what you want to compare me to, as somebody aggressive who's trying to fight for my right to have the life that I want, then I'll take that word. I recognize that society has created it into other areas, but we each choose the way we want to receive the words that come at us. So if you hear that word and you're like, "Oh, it doesn't sit well with me," I would ask you to listen to my argument in the first chapter of that book regarding that 5-letter word.
And you know what? And that's A-okay because, you speak, you know what? And this is something that everybody needs to take and embrace. If you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. Know who your
Mm-hmm.
audience is. And if it doesn't align, it doesn't align. But what's funny is we talk a lot about language when it comes to strong language with women and how we do shy away from stuff, right? We do,
Mm-hmm.
and be polite. Kimberly Joe, sit up straight. Kimberly Joe, put your skirt. I went to a private Catholic school where we wore pinafores, so I get it. I get it.
Yeah. I have 2 little girls. I had to think really hard about, did I want to write a book with the word bitch on the cover? And I'm a professional. And once I did the research and I really understood the way that the word is, I decided yes. My daughters, my son too, they all know about the word bitch. They know the derogatory sense of it. They know the way we use it. But it's funny, like even my niece, who's 10 or 11, my brother said, you can't say the name of Aunt Melissa's book because he doesn't want her using the word bitch. And so I get it. I really do understand that it's a word that is said on television these days. So it's not a 4-letter word that you can't say, but it still has some scar tissue around it for
Yep.
some people. So take the chance, learn the history of it. I think you may be surprised.
And you know what? Good on you for embracing what others would use as a takeaway. Kim Talks is actually from the fact in 8th grade, Talk, there was a song in the 80s. It was all about a girl who wouldn't shut up. And that was my dedicated song for my peers in my class. And it wasn't meant to be nice, right?
Yeah.
But I own it. I am Kim Talks. And that's because I'm not going to shut up. And we don't have to be quiet. I will not go quietly into the sunset. Okay, so quotes. I love to close my show on quotes, and I have collected some incredible quotes. I love yours. Please share with us your quote.
You can have your cake and eat it too. You just have to know the right recipe.
And tell me where that comes from or how you came up with that quote.
It was almost the subtitle to the book. And then we felt like we had to make the cover a piece of cake, and I didn't want to do that. So we switched the subtitle to How Ambitious Women Can Have It All Without Doing It All. But it's essentially the same thing. You can have everything that you want. You just can't do it all. You have to delegate. You have to learn to give other people their responsibility. There's a million different analogies out there. Like you can juggle all the balls, but you're going to drop the ones. I mean, there's a million different ways you can say that. But mine is all about adjust your recipe, figure out the right ingredients to give you the life that you really want, and you'll be able to have your cake and eat it too.
And anybody that knows me will know why I love this, because I had that TV show, Kim's Kitchen, and I did tons of baking on it. So I love the fact that it does come down to success is a formula. It is a recipe. And I hear from women a lot of times, well, it shouldn't have to be that way, but it is. It is.
Kim, I have one more quote for you. Now that you
Okay.
just said that, on my wall right here, I'm looking at it. It says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." And that's from Aristotle.
Oh, that's excellent.
Right?
Awesome. Yeah, totally. Well, and when you quit fighting yourself and you realize that you have to implement, it's just, I love James Clear book, The Atomic Habits. That was and it's such an easy, if you're on the road this holiday, or if you're driving back and forth, pop that in. I think it's a 4-hour listen. It's absolutely worth it. And, I think it would be a great accompaniment to the efficiency book. So the efficiency bitch. So grab efficiency bitch online, grab the James Clear book and kickstart your new year. And by the way, I do not get any kickbacks. I just want you to have an awesome 2023. I want you guys to have an awesome year. Okay. That is it for today. We are keeping it right within our timeline. You are awesome. Talking about efficiency, right? If you ever feel that your resiliency is lagging at all, be sure to listen and lean in to our resilient community. You can go to resilientgift.com, sign up totally for free. You'll get our monthly magazine. We'll get, all the kind of updates as to who's talking and stuff. So you can actually set your notifications. You know who to listen to. So you get opportunity to listen to Melissa first time, right? As soon as it hits the airwaves. So the reality is, folks, you have a network. We're here. We're all here for you. Until next time, this is Kim Talks Resilience, and I'm your host, Kim Hayden. Thank you for sharing your time.